important issue is the scale. That most of the data that we're talking about is social beneficiaries and government schemes and so on and so it is about individuals. Are we looking at households? Are we looking at neighborhoods? Are we looking at political constituencies? And the way in which this data is organized is really, really important, because if you have, let's say, government data sets related to beneficiaries organized along the political constituency, you can see how that's going to change the way in which politics works in the state. You can organize it by ward, you can organize it by mandal, you can organize it in any different way you want. And I don't think that we have spent enough time thinking through what that might be. Finally, you have that aspatialness operates through all sorts of institutional challenges, because people at some level are very, very spatial. They do have a spatial sensibility. But people are not trained to work with maps. People are not trained to do analysis using spatial data. Well, how does a particular location matter? How does a particular scale matter? How do you even make the entry of this data into any kind of spatial data set? That hasn't been done. That's probably the...
No, thanks a lot for highlighting the importance of spatial data. And as Andy was talking about this morning, that's one of the most valuable data sets out there. And I have no reason not to take your word for it, but it actually does take 3 months to get a map of all schools in this city, then there is a serious problem out there, despite the abundance of data out there. So good points about sort of, one, are we actually truly collecting data that's meaningful to people? And two, then are we layering it with other sort of social constructs that actually help you derive meaning from this data? And then do people out there actually have the capacity to consume data in formats that actually makes it meaningful for them? Turning to you, Ganesh, right? I know you've been trying to address this specific problem for a while now. Your firm does a lot of data analytics. So your main job is to take this huge data explosion out there and make sense of it for people like me, who don't always have the skills to sort of understand this data in ways that are meaningful to them. I also know that you've done some interesting work with sanitation data, right, which is one of the components of the project we're discussing. So could you talk about that? Could you talk about the value of data analysis to start with, and then talk about the sanitation example? And if we have time, and only if we have time, I know that we don't want to start the breakout very soon. I know you've done some work with retail value chains as well. Maybe touch on that too, probably focus on sanitation.
Yeah. Thanks, Prasanna. Good afternoon. Very interesting discussion from different perspectives in terms of where to find data and how open should governments be in terms of pushing data to the public. But as an organization, we are a data analytics and visualization company. So what do? We tell stories using data. And the best analytical tools and best data sets are only as valuable as the kind of stories you tell out of them. So one key problem we've been observing in the industry is in terms of meaningful consumption of data. So whether it is a few spreadsheets of data or huge volumes of Internet of Things kind of data, how does one make sense out of it, and importantly, communicate in simple, easy to understand terms to the general public? And that is all the more true for open data, because ultimately the people who are consuming it is going to be the general public. So at Darna, we've been trying to build a product and use techniques that tell these stories in a most simple and intuitive manner. I will touch upon this case study in sanitation, and what we found is, like Anand rightly mentioned, there is so much of valuable data sets out of there. We have looked at data the past 100 years in terms of what are the weather patterns in India, which regions, how do they change during summers and winters, and looking at elections data in terms of what happened in the last 60 years, which parties, which constituencies, all of that is public data available, for instance, from the Election Commission of India website. And talking about sanitation, the Ministry of Drinking Water and Sanitation shows a lot of data on a monthly basis at a district level. So this again can be utilized to try and find out how are the schemes progressing, the government schemes on making facilities accessible for everyone, how are they progressing. So I will probably quickly jump onto this case study. I think that will probably give a better picture as to how stories can be told from data. But I'm going to talk about live term. So India has a very peculiar problem. So there are better infrastructure and facilities for answering a phone call as opposed to answering the nature's call. So open defecation is a real and present problem in India, and all the more so in rural areas. So Nirmal Bharat Abhiyan is a program from the Ministry of Drinking Water and Sanitation that has allotted thousands of crores of rupees to build toilets in all parts of the country. And there is a target in terms of lakhs of toilets to be built, and there's a monthly target, annual target, and so on. And the data for this is collected at the panchayat level and is put onto the website of this ministry. So we work with the NGO Argyam in trying and finding out how effective are these schemes. So are toilets actually being built, and if so, is the spend proportional to the kind of effectiveness achieved, was the key question we're trying to answer. So very quickly, the slide. I'm going to tell you 3 stories out of this. Firstly, where are the toilets being built, and are they adequate? So, to start with, what is the money being spent on rural sanitation? So you see all the states in India, each box is one state. Size is the amount of spend allocated to the state, and color is the amount of finances they've spent from that allocation. So you can see that Uttar Pradesh has clearly the most funds allocated for building toilets. And of the utilization, it's about 87%, you can see it on the screen. Whereas Karnataka, it is much lower, it is a lighter green shade. So anything closer to red is very low spend as opposed to the budget amount allocated. So this tells a picture that Karnataka, Jharkhand, and few other states are not utilizing the funds adequately, whatever has been allocated. If you further drill down into this, now this shows every single district in every state. So you can clearly find out that there is one state in Karnataka, Udupi, where utilize about 30% of the funds only. And so on. So within Uttar Pradesh, you can look at which has the lion's share of funds, which is Sitapur. So now if you look at what toilets have actually been built. So let's look at sanitation coverage. So this, now the boxes show the number of toilets built. Bigger the box, more the toilets built. And the color actually indicates the percentage against the target. So you can see here, green shades indicate building as per the targeted numbers which are planned. You can see that Uttar Pradesh has built most toilets and more or less in line. Bihar is lagging. They've spent in proportion to the plan, but they've not built enough toilets in proportion. Same is the case with Jharkhand, Jammu and Kashmir. So you can clearly identify what are the states that needs to be focused on. And this again is the district level. Now, the next level is if you were able to compare both the amount of toilets built and the amount of spend allocated in a single view. So that is a performance comparison. So now we look at, this shows me the x-axis is the number of toilets, the amount of funds spent, and y-axis is the percentage of toilets built. So 100% is 100% of funds spent, and this side 100% is 100% of toilets built. So that way we can neatly draw a line across. If we are at this line, 60% of the funds have been utilized and 60% of the toilets have been built, which is a desirable state. Anything above this is the green area, meaning they have spent less but built more toilets. And this is a red area, they have spent more but output is very less. So here you can immediately find out that Uttar Pradesh amongst all states has spent more, but on a percentage basis has been able to achieve lesser outcome. And there are a few states like, again, Andhra Pradesh is in the green area. This is before the division old data. And this again is Madhya Pradesh is doing quite well. So we want to find out what is the state of districts within Uttar Pradesh. most of the districts seem to have spent more, but constructed very less number of toilets. All of these fall in the red area. And let us look at what is the case for Andhra Pradesh. So except for a couple of districts, all others seem to be in the green area. Now this begs the question, all these numbers are reported by the individuals in terms of we have spent so much and we built so much. So what is the validation that actually so many toilets exist? So that also has to be checked. So we took the census data, the 2011 census, which incidentally collects the number of toilets that the households have also. So it's very interesting if you compare that with this data. We found out that almost several hundred lakhs of toilets were missing. So this shows, y-axis shows the number of toilets built, and this is the finance. So two values we are comparing. One is the census value, which is orange dot, and the actual count reported by this as part of this program, which is a blue dot. So wherever blue is more than orange, there is a high over-reporting, and the toilets are missing. So that way, if you look at it, Uttar Pradesh kind of beats every other state. So huge amount of fund spent, and huge difference in terms of the toilets built versus those that are missing. So you can see few states are green in that, Kerala and few other states. So this again, immediately you can look at this and drill down into the districts. So now this shows all the districts within Andhra Pradesh as to where action needs to be taken to investigate where did the toilets go. So this is an example of how data stories can be told by leveraging pure open data. All of this data is from the ministry website and census data, which also is public. So similarly, again, depending on the time, I'll cover a few other case studies later. But the
Just a quick word about the retail management.
So retail and supply chain again are very interesting optimization problems. So we've been working with enterprise customers in this area, large retail players, US players like Target and other e-commerce players also in India. So the supply chain optimization is a very interesting problem in terms of finding out when I'm supplying goods, where are they stuck. So it is easy to spot that with data analytics. So very quickly, this shows the vendor to the store, assuming there are multiple points goods travel to. And we are looking at this is the source and this is the end point. And it goes through 4 levels. So you can find out what is the value of goods by the size of the bubble. Bigger the bubble, more the value or volume, and more the delay, dark red will be the line color that is connecting it. So you can find out that point 0 to point 1 is where I'm seeing a lot of delay, and a lot of goods are stuck in level 4 and level 3, level 5 and level 3. So this apart, we also have worked with contract farming industry in terms of the supply chain and retail, wherein milk is collected from different collection points, and organizations try and transport that to a central packaging plant and then pack it. So there again, analytics can be effectively utilized to find out what is the shortest route possible, and what is the quality of milk collected at different points, and is it consistent, and so on. So there are more case studies, and you will be able to find it on our website as well, and depending on the time available, we will talk about it. So one final closing point I wanted to make is the key challenge is people don't realize the effectiveness of data. The awareness level of what can be done with data is the key problem as I see it. Because if people understand that there so much of possibilities are there and magic can be done with data, they will be much more careful in terms of curating, collecting and storing the data. That automatically solves the kind of problem which you would have upstream.
Thanks, Dr. Ganesh. That was
make a distinct difference between knowledge and data that we are providing. If we talk of knowledge, at least in this country, both state and central government are the single contributors to the...
Sir, can you please use your mic?
Yeah. Have been funding the knowledge generation. That's why the knowledge is by and large 100% of open domain. Like you take even at the university level, the students' thesis, the researchers' reports, when you go to the extension departments, what activities they are doing, and farmers' advisories. These are all on public domain and these are on open basis. But when it comes to the sixth, the word value chain is used. That is more important in this of current interest. In the value chain, we talk of going the produce from the farmer. It goes to post harvest, then it goes to some kind of a process for various end products. Then it goes to marketing chain, and it goes finally to a consumer in the form of some edible product. Now, in this process, a whole lot of actors come into the picture. Here, actually, ICTs are used more effectively and extensively. As I said, in the first case, where knowledge is to be provided, since it is a public system that is by and large responsible, is made available, and the knowledge is made available through various ICT media, like newspapers, TV, radios, computers, mobiles, everywhere. That is permissible. That is happening already. But when it comes to the value chains, now here the business is involved. It is happening. The first example I give is like our GrapeNet, where EPIDA, Agriculture Product Export Development Agency, has come into the picture and has created a system using ICTs end to end, right from the farmer's produce till the final grape packet ends up somewhere in Europe or American markets. And its entire traceability is maintained. In which farmland, which farmer is producing, it is tagged, and then where the farmer is selling, what chemicals he has applied, and then it goes to a test lab, which test lab has tested. All these reports are available for the importer also. Now, as I said, this is a complete traceability end-to-end value chain. But here, certain amount of data for certain groups is only made available. Now, if you are an importer, you are given access to the information that is required for you. So, sitting somewhere in the European port, you can also see that what consignment you are getting and whether it is to be accepted or not. To that extent, the complete information is available, but certain level of secrecy is maintained. Right? When you come into the public system like ours, we may have some millions of records about the biological diversity. First level information is available on open access globally. But when you want more detailed information, you will have to come through kind of a process through the government, get it vetted, then if they want it, they give the information as well as they give the product also. Like you want a particular variety of, say, rice or wheat which is of the native origin. You want to get it, you get the information, but if you want to have a particular product, you have to go through the process. So when I am talking the data in agriculture, these two are distinctly different. But ICTs are making more dent where we are talking about the value chains, where agribusiness is involved. A large number of players are in the picture. For example, in and around Hyderabad, you see a number of these departmental stores and chains that are working, like in Moinabad and all that. They have chains. They have the collection centers there. They're very interesting ICTs is used. From the farmer till the collection center, they work with mobile. From the collection center upwards, be it Reliance, be it ITC, or be it Heritage, they have their own internal ICT system operating so that they have to do a lot of quality control. Now, you don't have access to that information. Even I don't, as a researcher, even I don't have access to that information. But a lot of value chain work is going on, and we give a lot of importance to that because that is benefiting the farmer more. And the private sector is more interested in the quality, what farmer is doing, what chemicals he is applying, what variety he is growing, and how he is growing, and when he should bring to the market, when he should not bring to the market, he or she. Now, this thing is happening, a lot of ICTs are being used in this, and especially Andhra Pradesh. In and around Hyderabad is a very vibrant location. A lot of things are happening. And we have a large number of producer companies in the country, more than 200. Again, Hyderabad is a hub. Most of the producer companies are again trying to provide some value addition to the primary produce by the farmers, supplying it to the market. Invariably, they are using ICT very effectively. Again, as I said in the case of earlier, supply chains, value chains used by these organized sectors. They use mobiles at the farmer side, followed by they use kind of a network of computers and internet connected computer systems they use at a corporate level, higher level. Now this is a kind of a mix of experience that what we are facing and what our